So innovation, much talked about, almost as much misunderstood. Some people think innovation is all about new technology. Actually, quite a lot of innovation is about reusing old technology. Many people think that innovation comes from brilliant geniuses. Invariably, it's a more cumulative and collaborative process. And so to try and resolve some of those kind of issues about where innovation comes from, what propels it, how it happens, why people undertake it, we're joined by this very great panel. So just starting from the left, Stephen Harris is principal of an amazing school just outside Sydney called Northern Beaches Christian School. It's one of the best schools that I've been to around the world for making evident in its daily practice a philosophy that learning should be collaborative and participative. And it's evident in the way that children learn, the way that they interact with one another, the way that teachers lead learning and structure it, and also in the buildings and the furniture. Stephen is reinventing a school from within. Jorn Larsen is principal of another amazing school, the Hellerup Gymnasium, just outside in the suburbs of Copenhagen. Hellerup is a school, again, where the philosophy of learning, deeply personalized, very participative, highly engaged, is embedded and reflected in the structure and layout of the school. And he will talk about how they came to that idea in that kind of community. And so both Stephen and Jorn are doing what a lot of people are doing around the world, which is reinventing school. So had you been in a session or listened to a session yesterday about the nature of innovation and where it came from, you would have heard at least some people suggest that innovation comes from young people. The lady sitting in the middle is the most radical innovator on the stage. In fact, she's one of the most radical innovators at the conference, because Ranjani, and I'm not going to attempt to pronounce her second name, Prasandeep, Rajani actually isn't trying to reinvent school. She's trying to take education and learning to children who are never going to get to school. So Rajani is the creator with a colleague of something called the Doorstep School, which I had the privilege to visit in Pune in India. Pune is the fastest growing city in Asia. It has 5,000 building sites. On those building sites, there are 30,000 children. They're nowhere near a school. So redesigning school isn't going to change life for those children. So what Rajani has done is create a program that will take, in different ways, learning to them, so that they can learn even when there are no schools, no teachers, no textbooks, they can still learn. In some ways, that's a more radical challenge to the idea that, to education, the idea that, of course, learning and education means school. She's, through necessity, thought her way out of that box. So what I'm going to just ask them to do, just briefly, is to each in turn, as we come along, introduce their work and what they think is really significant about what they're doing. And then I'm going to engage them in a conversation about some of the ingredients of innovation as they've seen it. So Stephen, do you want to kick us off with some brief thoughts and explanation about what's significantly innovative about Northern Beaches?
Okay, and thanks to Jorn, he's going to be doing the clicking as I speak. Look, for me, the key thing was to try and create an environment. They've talked at that session this morning about whole system reform. How do you bring that down to a school? And how do you bring that into a school so that every child experiences their entire day in a new paradigm, not a mixture of old and new depending on the teachers. So I guess that's been the challenge, and we've picked up the notion of how does spatial awareness come into that. So we've like most schools, worked on pedagogical space. We've developed our virtual space, but we've also now drawn physical space into that in a significant way, where we've started to change every space in the school as creatively as we can. It's not finished. We also are focusing on social space and mental space. So I guess bringing those 5 elements together creates that new ecological space for learning that we're focusing on. in the middle of that process, and I guess I love the point this morning that was made, that if you don't empower teachers, you will not create the change. And I guess what we're experimenting with, what we're discovering, is that the more you empower the teachers, the more you give them the new spaces, the more you focus on professional development as a recurrent process that's come from within, it's not added from without, the greater the ability of the average teacher to change. And I guess we've made some significant changes in the last year in relation to furniture in the school. No longer do students come in and have that perception of desks and chairs. We have the lounges, we have the floor, we have bean bags, we have the stairs. I love Rajani's school, the outdoor school. In many ways, we're trying to create that school in the middle of Sydney, because for me, students, if you lock them into that perception of this is what a classroom should look like, it should be desks and it should be rows and a teacher out the front, well then everyone will play out that game. If you change the spaces, then the teachers will be empowered to change. And I guess that's what we've seen occurring. Technology is not the driver, it's actually the tool, and it's very much, it's mobile. We've introduced bring your own device this year, and I've been amazed at the difference between me handing out a laptop to a child and the child bringing their choice of device into the school. So that's another area of significant difference. But the interesting endpoint after doing this for about 5 years now is that I'm watching teachers change who they are, that they are no longer the behaviour managers, they're no longer the content deliverers, they've gone past the coach and the mentor. What's actually happening now is that they are the professional practitioners. The art teachers are still artists, the English teachers are poets, the science teachers are involved in research. And I guess as a school, I want to really challenge the teachers to say, don't lose that professionalism as you go through. And then I guess the other thing I'm watching at the top of the pecking order for me now is it's a little bit like the teachers who are working in collaborative teams, and we have across about 5 grades in the school, we've got significant collaborative teams working, is that those teams are becoming like the film directors, the creative directors of curriculum delivery. Now that's an extremely interesting evolution of the teaching process, because as teachers are focusing off behaviour and able to focus onto the delivery process, they are becoming the creative directors of every day and of every lesson. And that's what's creating deeper engagement for the kids. And then the kids are involving themselves in that, so that they're becoming the creative directors in that process as well. One of the pictures you would have seen was of kids wearing the white jackets. That was a gamified process for an entire term, where rather than just studying science, the kids became science specimen processors, and they were aiming to become physicists, biologists, or professors through a game approach overlaid across the entire curriculum. And that evolved as a result of the teachers being able to spend their time doing that.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Rajani.
The most innovative idea, if I have to...
Do you want to just...
Okay, I'll take it. Sorry.
Yeah. And just hold it right here.
I know. Yesterday we have practiced also, but anyway. So the most innovative idea, if you want me to tell, because personally I feel everything we do is innovative. If we define the term as doing something different than we have been doing so far, then it is innovative. But the most important thing is the idea that we thought about taking education to the doorsteps of children, and even named our organization as Doorstep Schools 20 years back. Now the reason for doing so was many experiences, because I have been teaching in College of Social Work and was exposed to the ideas. The problem we have been discussing last whole day and just now also about developing countries. So many children are there who don't even go to school once in their lifetime. They are not even enrolled in school. Even if they do, they drop out very early, and for practically they are illiterates. Now, why does it happen? If we think it is not always the economic or financial constraints that the parents have, that is there, no doubt about it. But there are simple practical reasons because of which children are not able to go away from home and attend formal schools which are, say, 7 hours long, 6 hours long, and be away from. For example, if I'm a pavement dweller and residing on a pavement, I barely have a roof on my head and no doors. So if the parents are away the whole day for working, who is going to look after the house and the belongings, whatever belongings they have there? Or suppose if I'm in a slum, and simple thing like water collections are not there, inadequate water supply is there, there is no fixed timings when the water will be available, then the chores like washing clothes, storing water and all those, only that there is nobody else but the children who can do it because parents have to be away for work. For such reasons, we thought of taking school or education to the doorstep to these children, wherever we find them. One example given was the construction workers where we are working now. But 20 years back when we started, it was not with the construction workers, but with any children we find, say, at street corners, signals, in slums, or wherever they were on pavements. We decided that we will go there, teach them wherever they are, and at least make them basic literate, if nothing else. And literacy we defined as being able to read a newspaper. I want to give this definition here because literacy can be defined in different ways, and just making a signature also, in India we say they are literate. So, but we said we will teach them as much as to be able to read a newspaper. And let me tell you, okay, this was the most innovative decision. But when we started working, every day there were new challenges. For example, when we started working with the group of domestic help children, we realized that they don't have any fixed free time. Every family has its different schedule, and therefore every domestic help child gets free time at different times. So then we had a model of having like open house or open class. Like our teacher will be there for the whole day in the residential complex where the children are, and then children can come and go and study whatever time they have. Or even if we said we will go to the doorsteps of children and hold our classes wherever the children are, what about the children who are at street corners or signals or marketplaces or railway stations? Because then there is no place to hold a class. For that, then we thought of making a bus designed into classroom, designed like a classroom. We made a school on wheels bus, and now we are taking that bus to places wherever we can find children but cannot find place to make them sit and study even for a couple of hours a day. So this bus goes now, we can park it in the marketplace or at street corner somewhere, but we cannot sit in the middle of the road and take the classes. So these kind of innovations or different things, different approaches for many, many different groups of children who are underserved, we have been practicing, we have been finding out, we have been trying out, experimenting and doing.
Thank you very much indeed. She may look soft and gentle, but she's actually made of steel. So Jorn, can I just pass then to you? And I urge you to pay attention to Jorn because as well as being a head teacher, he's an international football referee. So he'll be very strict with you. But Jorn, tell us briefly about Hellerup.
Thank you. Yes, Hellerup School is a school situated just outside Copenhagen. 650 pupils, 55 teachers, and 25 leisure time teachers, we call it. And the small children are in the school all day because the parents go to work. To give you an impression of our school, of our house, I want to show you a small movie of only 2-3 minutes.